alarming problem in our modern day is that the majority of young men, at least in first world countries especially, face little to no discomfort. Their environments are made solely to make them comfortable and extend that comfort for the longest period of time with little room for discomfort. And at any sight of discomfort, you avoid it and go back into your comfort zone. It sounds a lot like you, doesn't it? If you don't know who I am, my name is Greg. I'm a self-improvement YouTuber who's focused on helping young men reach their self-improvement goals. So if that's something that you're interested in, consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel. When I say that a lot of young men face little to no discomfort in their everyday lives, I think about myself during high school. Let me give you a little bit of background into what I mean. Here was my daily routine waking up in high school. I would barely ever set an alarm in high school because I knew my mom would wake me up eventually because she was up before everyone else. So having not set an alarm, I'd wait till somebody else woke me up. And after waking up, I would sit down on my bed for a while, maybe check my phone for a little bit, and hop into the bathroom and take a warm shower. After taking a warm shower and brushing my teeth, I would go get dressed in my room, put on like a comfy hoodie or something, and go to eat breakfast, which was already prepared for me. After doing all of this, I would then head over to school. Because I had set no alarm and waited for my mom to wake me up, I ended up missing weight room. Now, when I was in high school, my baseball coach would head into the school earlier than most people, and head up into the weight room and unlock it so that any of the athletes who wanted to work out early, around like 7 in the morning, those guys who really made it early, would have an opportunity to lift weights before we headed over to class. I would always either be late to weight room or miss it entirely because I wouldn't make it to school in time since I woke up later. Now, school would go by, I'd get by scot-free. I wouldn't really talk to anyone outside of my friend group. So as a result, I spent most of high school pretty single, and when I wasn't single in high school, pretty late, probably I would say senior year. Let's just say it wasn't the best relationship. Now, continuing on forward from that, after getting home, I would eat, maybe play some video games for a few hours, maybe do my homework, maybe. And then after finishing my homework, I would either play more video games, watch YouTube, or just stick around on my phone until around 1 in the morning until I got too tired and go back to sleep and continue the cycle again. Not waking up early, taking a hot shower, rinse and repeat for around the entirety of high school. Now, this might sound a lot like what you do, and you might be wondering, well, Greg, what's so bad about that? That's what everyone does. And that's the problem. That's what everyone does. Notice the majority of young men in our society face little to no discomfort. It's because most of them follow that routine. Or maybe I'm just the only one, but I'm certain that there's someone watching this video who can relate to that. I ended up not setting any alarms or waking up early for school because I didn't take the responsibility to go early to bed the night before. I didn't go early to bed the night before because I didn't take the responsibility to stay off my phone, stay off video games until I finished my homework. I didn't take the responsibility to finish my homework half the time. While I was at school, I found it was uncomfortable to stray outside of my friend group, so I was always generally too nervous to, flirt with or talk with other girls in high school and stuff like that. I didn't want to step out of my comfort zone. Even the hot shower I took before school was me sticking in my comfort zone. Because a cold shower that wakes you up and jolts your eyes open, well, that's way too uncomfortable for little me. Almost everything I did in that entire routine was based on what was most comfortable for me. I never took the hard option at any point ever. And I would say this is the main issue and contributor as to why young men feel lost and directionless in the modern age. See, when you don't face discomfort, you don't grow. Because discomfort enables growth. Let's say when you first start hitting the gym, it is very uncomfortable. It's extremely uncomfortable. You come back the first day after coming to the gym, you come back super sore, you wake up the next morning even more sore. It's so uncomfortable to go back that next day. And yet there are people who go to the gym for years on end. And those are the people that you see have the most knowledge, the most progress. Meanwhile, the majority of young men, as far as the young men my age that I see on like a college campus, they're not doing that. I would say maybe 5, 10, maybe 15% of them work out. And out of that 15% of young men who work out, maybe 20% of those guys even are pushing themselves to their limits to actually try to see where their physique can take them. Now, when I say discomfort, I don't necessarily mean the discomfort of being born poor in a very violent area versus rich. Or I don't mean the discomfort of being born into a war-torn country and having PTSD and stuff like that. What I mean by discomfort is something that I refer to as controlled discomfort. The discomfort that comes from situations that you can manually put yourself into. One of the best examples of controlled discomfort is approaching a girl that you find attractive. That is if you're not experienced in talking to people in general, you have very low social skills, you have somewhat of a social anxiety, you feel nervous, you don't know what to say, the words won't come out when you think of them. That is a very uncomfortable situation. Just the way I described it probably made you nervous. You thought about the last time you saw a girl that you were attracted to and you're like, no, I just can't do it, no matter how much my friends push me to do it. That's a situation I've been in plenty of times. And it's a very uncomfortable one. But the times when you decide to just let go, not hesitate, and just be like, okay, I'm going to talk to her. That's it. Not even worrying about what the consequences of that choice are. That is a controlled discomfort situation. When you approach her, you're going to feel awkward. You're going to feel nervous, and you're not really generally going to know what to say. But once you say that first word of, hey, how are you? Or, hi, what's your name? Because after you approach the girl, no matter what happens, if all you did was introduce yourself and ask her for her name and introduce your name, and then that's the end of the interaction, you're going to feel like a 50-ton weight was lifted off your shoulders. You're going to feel amazing at what you just accomplished. Because especially when it comes to social situations, social discomfort, taking the first step and actually not hesitating and just going for it feels a lot better, no matter what the outcome is, whether it's rejection or awkwardness. No matter what the outcome is, it feels better than inaction. That's like a quote that I thought of yesterday that I said to one of my friends, was like, the regret of inaction is heavier than the awkwardness of being awkward. Like I mentioned earlier, another uncomfortable situation you can place yourself into is working out consistently. It is very uncomfortable to work out. You're purposefully putting yourself into a state of pain. You're putting yourself into a state of soreness. You're making your muscles work. You're literally to build muscle, you have to tear your muscle in a microscopic level in order to build it back up. If that's not discomfort, I don't know what is. But that discomfort is how you build a 10 out of 10 physique. Steroids or no steroids, no matter what you want to say about any bodybuilder, they have achieved their physique through discomfort. They've had to be very uncomfortable for years in order to reach that level. Athletes out as well. Think about a basketball player or a football player or a soccer player. They're not that comfortable when they're in the game. If you see a star football player at practice, they're putting themselves through hell. They're running, they're exerting themselves, they're taking hits, they're taking heavy hits, they're taking hits that could damage their organs and their brain. And they put themselves all through that discomfort. Why? Because they want to win. They want to be the champion. They want to win a championship with their team. It's worth putting themselves into that discomfort for the goal and growth of being the best. I don't think there was anyone in history who succeeded and was fulfilled with their success without at least some level of discomfort. And if there was, it's not going to be you. You need to put yourself through some uncomfortable situations if you want to grow. If you find that your daily routine sounds kind of like my daily routine throughout high school, then there's some things that need to change. I would say the easiest change you can make is a cold shower. Honestly. It might sound like wishy-washy, like what's a cold shower gonna do? I'm not necessarily saying taking a cold shower for health benefits or anything like that, but just the mental strength benefit you get from purposefully putting yourself in a very uncomfortable situation, like a cold shower when you've been taking hot showers for months and months, maybe years. It's going to be different. It's going to be a shock. It's going to be very uncomfortable for as long as you stay under that water. But as long as you do it, when you step out, you're going to feel like the man. For something as simple as a cold shower, it doesn't involve other people. It doesn't involve any sort of, you don't have to go to a gym to do it. Literally, hop in a cold shower today. That's my challenge to you today. Hop in a cold shower. Crank it out to the maximum setting where it's the coldest, and stay under that shower for 30 seconds to a minute. If you can make it longer than that, then you surprised me. Putting yourself into uncomfortable situations like that is how you're going to grow as a man. It's basically how you escape that egotistical, arrogant little boy phase of your life. Because I was in that phase for years, and honestly, there's still remnants of that phase in my mental state, in my personality today. And my lifelong journey is just going to be working on becoming better than that. That's the purpose of self-improvement. You want to put yourself in as many uncomfortable situations as possible, while they're being controlled, of course. You don't just go to a war-torn country and be like, oh, I'm uncomfortable now. That was growth. No, you put yourself in controlled discomfort as often as you can in order to grow in that specific field. If you put yourself into hundreds of scenarios where you're talking to a girl you find attractive, well, guess what? By the time you get to the 100th girl, it's going to be a piece of cake. It's going to be a joke. It's going to be a joke to you that you were even scared in the first place. When you get to that 1000th workout, it's going to be a joke to you that you were scared and sore and wimpy about going to the gym in the first place. When you've gotten to your 200th cold shower of the year, it's going to be a joke to you that you were so scared the first time, and that the water was too cold, and that it was too uncomfortable. It's things like this that make you a more self-improved man. It makes you better mentally, it makes you better physically, and overall, it's what we have to do if we actually want to embrace masculinity. Like all these, man, I don't want to call them corny, but what all these YouTube videos say, oh, we should return to masculinity. How about instead of watching the video, you go and do it? All right? That's everything for today. Remember, winners win, losers lose. Go be a winner today. Go take a cold shower.